What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Hive Prometheus. Today I am doing another battle report. I played it with the same person who played Chaos Space Marines against me the other week. He brought his Chaos Demons this time. He's playing Khorne Demons specifically. I've never played against Khorne Demons before, and I want to switch it up. I'm not playing Crusher Stampede in this battle. I'm playing Vanguard Onslaught, and I'm running a list with a whole bunch of Gene Stealers, so that should be pretty fun. Let me throw up the list right here so we can go through it, and then we'll get right into the dice rolling. Alright, here, so I'm leading off with a Flying Hive turn. I gave a Chameleonic, and this battle didn't matter too much because Khorne Demons don't really have a lot of ranged weapons, and the ones that they do end up being Flamers. I end up taking out Neuronode off of that Broodlord. That is actually incorrect. So they're all just base Broodlords. I've got 2 Lictors, 1 Neurolictor, 1 squad of Hormigons, triple Gene Stealers, triple Broodlord altogether. Broodlord, double Excrin. In this case, I had double Moloch. I just have double Screamer there in the case that I want to be flexible with the list and I wanted to throw in a different monster instead. This was kind of experimental. I'm kind of titrating down to something that I like more. And then a Rupture Effects, Tyrant Effects with Rupture Cannon there, just in the case I need to pop some stuff with heavier armor and I can't just rely on the Dev Wounds or the Mortal Wounds. Respectively from the Broodlord and Gene Stealers. Broodlord gives Gene Stealers Dev Wounds when he's attached to the squad, and Molochs when they come out of the ground. Their Subterranean Assault does Mortal Wounds. All right, here we are jumping into deployment. So he brought a couple squads of Blood Crushers, 2 squads Blood Letters, I believe. He has a Skull Throne. He has got some special characters that attach to the Blood Letters. He's got a Bloodthirster that he starts on the board, and then he's got a named Bloodthirster character with extra wounds, 20 wounds off the board. Not quite sure what his name is, but this is Mission O in the Pariah Nexus Tournament Pack. This is Terraform, Stalwarts, Crucible of Battle. Terraform here ended up being pretty good for me. I didn't end up using Stalwarts just because I only had 1 battle line here. I just had the 1 squad of Hormigons, and that was specifically to try to stop him from doing a secret mission, which ended up not panning out, but that's okay. As you see here, I chose him to be the defender. I wanted to kind of get his first picks out of the way, see what was going to be deep struck and off the board, and that also could determine whether I wanted to have more stuff in reserve and deep strike, other than just the Molochs, a Biovore. Oh no, sorry, the Molochs, a squad of Gene Stealers and a Broodlord and a Lictor I started in reserve, just because I thought that I needed to have some counter charges and some punches back. If, he wiped everything on the field and I had nothing to come in from reserves and kind of be tricky, I don't think I would have done as well here. I think Vanguard really relies on its movement tricks and kind of being a little more duplicitous than Crusher Stampede, so I leaned into that as much as I could. The specific layout here is layout 6 in the GW Terrain Pack. Roll off for the game. I rolled a 6, but he also rolled a 6. So we're going to roll again. I got a 2, and at this point I thought he had it, but he rolled a 1. So starting off first turn, I'm just going to advance my Gene Stealers and my Broodlord up a little bit into the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to bring... I originally thought with my Scout moves and then my Assault moves, or my Advance moves, I didn't want to move the Gene Stealers that far, but honestly, being out in the open was not that scary because there weren't very many guns. So positioning to be a countercharge for the Hormigons in the upper left-hand corner or my Neurolictor, or the Lictor that was tucked into the piece of terrain in the bottom right hand of the screen, ended up being pretty good. So with the Neurolictor and the Lictor, I started to terraform. If they could live, I could terraform those 2 places. Going over to his turn, I mean, my shooting was not very spectacular. My Excrin whiffed. I think I only did 3 damage to the Bloodthirster. I was trying to chip him down. There's nothing else I can shoot. He starts moving up. I know he's going to get some charges off. Probably going to kill this Lictor here, so I'm not going to complete Terraform on that objective, more than likely. But that's okay. As you'll see here in just a moment, I was able to complete Terraform with that Nerlictor in the upper left-hand corner, and I kept that objective basically the entire game, so that was an extra 4 points. So that ended up helping out my primary score quite a bit here. Those Hellhounds are charging in, thinking that they're going to wipe my Hormagaunts, and then the 3 Bloodcrusher squad tried to charge my Nerlictor, and just because of the pivot rules for those bases now, he would have needed the extra inch. I think he rolled a 7, or maybe he rolled a 6 and he needed a 7. It was really close, but just because of being able to move his base to clear the edge of that terrain. On the bottom right hand of the screen here, I ended up doing Heroic Intervention and charging the Hellhounds, knowing that the Lictor was probably going to die. And then I would be able to pile in and hit back and potentially kill the Hellhounds and leave some of the Bloodletters there. I didn't know if I was going to be able to take that objective back, but it was worth a shot here. He ended up increasing the strength, AP, and damage of the Bloodletters using that Blood Chariot ability. So, I mean, it was AP3, ended up swiping the Lictor immediately, and then I pile in with my Gene Stealers and split my attacks, and I get pretty lucky here. I had an okay number of dev wounds, and I'm on an objective now that I was able to consolidate onto into the combat the Bloodletters, so being able to reroll those ones to wound did come in clutch, and I was able to thread through just enough wounds to clear both squads. He was also unsuccessful in clearing the Hellhounds. My Hormagaunts with the Hellhounds in the upper left-hand corner, which was lucky. So here I am using my Gene Stealers coming up and going after the Bloodthirster here. I think I have the shooting between my 2 Exocrines and the Tyranid that can shoot at the Blood Chariot. I am advancing up my Gene Stealers in the upper left-hand corner. I'm keeping my Nerlictor on the point. I'm not successful in battle shocking very many units here. My Shadow Turn ended up being pretty good on turn 3, I believe I used it. But bringing in the Molochs, doing some Mortals, not forcing battle shock checks, because if they pass or if they fail battle shock, they gain wounds back, which was pretty interesting. Did some chip damage to that Bloodthirster, firing off some Exocrines into that Blood Chariot, doing some good damage, and then having the Tyrannifex finish it off with Storm-Guided Missiles and AP4, and he failed just enough 4-up invulns for it to go down. And I think that helped me score some Bring It Down points. So some good shooting there, and then we're going to shoot that spare Exocrine at the Blood Crushers up in that objective, and then worst case scenario, I can charge in my Gene Stealers into the Bloodhounds and the Blood Crushers on the upper left-hand corner objective. Brought in my Lictor and my squad of 10 Gene Stealers and the Broodlord in the lower part of the screen, kind of near the halfway point of the map there. Kind of as another countercharge in the case of my Gene Stealers and my Broodlord charging the Bloodthirster don't kill him. Even if the Bloodthirster comes from my Lictor, I will have a counter with the Gene Stealers to pounce on and finish him off. But I end up rolling fairly well with the Gene Stealers here. I did just enough damage, and I think I overkilled with dev wounds by 1. So that gave me another 2 or 3 points on Bring It Down. So I think I got 2 for the Blood Throne, or the Blood Chariot, and then 3 for the Blood Crusher. Or maybe it's 4, so I think 6 total. So pretty good for Bring It Down. Finished off the Bloodhounds and the Blood Crushers up there on the top left. He's moving out. He's now bringing everything onto the board. His deployment zone is still in the shadow, so he can deep strike outside 6 inches, making some pretty easy charges into those Gene Stealers. I'm pretty sure they're going to get wiped here. Those Bloodletters coming in and tying up my Exocrine. They rolled pretty well. I think they brought him down to 4 wounds in that combat, and then they out OC'd me on that point to take the middle. The Bloodletters in the top part of these map made their 9-inch charge into my Gene Stealers, but the named character Bloodthirster did not. So he's sitting there, and he's got, I think I have a small movement to see him with the Exocrine on the left-hand side of the screen, and I do not have to move the Tyranifex to see him. So I'll get heavy with the Tyranifex this next turn. My Gene Stealers died pretty quickly here with the charge mortals and the volume of the attacks that the blood crushers and the bloodletters on them have. I got pretty lucky here. I suffered quite a bit of damage, but I rolled some pretty good 4-up invuln saves on the Broodlord, and he lived at 1. I was just happy that the Exocrine lived from the bloodletters attacking the middle there. So some pretty long fight phases, but getting through it relatively efficiently. I think we both had about 45 to 48 minutes left on the clock here. We weren't playing super strict, but I was trying to play it as if I would at any RTT or GT. So yeah, just some consolidating moves, finishing out scoring. I think he scored 4 points here for Storm Hostile Objective. And over to my turn 3. I think I still hold 3 objectives, and one of them is my Terraform objective. So I think I should have been at 51 if I was scoring correctly. I end up fixing at the end of the game, but still doing pretty good. Up by 30 points on turn 3 is pretty good. So I'm just bringing in the Moloch. I'm going to use his mass attacks and the Hive Tyrant to try to clear those Bloodletters to release my Exocrine. I'm bringing up those Gene Stealers from the lower part of the map to try to go after those Blood Crushers. This ends up being a mistake. They're T7. They're just a little too tough, probably for the Gene Stealers to do enough to them. And then the volume of attacks that they get back is kind of a lot. I did end up falling back my Gene Stealers and my Broodlord to go into the named character Bloodthirster. I fired off some shots with the Exocrine. Didn't do any wounds on him, but I procced symbiotic targeting so that the Tyranifex both shots landed. One of them ended up going through, doing 11 damage, bringing him from 20 to 9. And then the Gene Stealers and the Broodlord did just enough with dev wounds to kill him outright. So killing another Bloodthirster with Gene Stealers feels pretty good. My objectives on top of turn 3 were containment and extend battle lines, so I was able to do containment with the Neurolictor and the Lictor sitting on the home base. And then extend battle lines is control an objective in your deployment zone in no man's land, so got that covered. So bottom of 3, he draws Sabotage and Overwhelming Force. He had no objectives at the time, but Overwhelming Force is good. He can come over and kill that Lictor here on the objective, and then after charging and probably killing him and consolidating, he can jump into the building, which is what he ended up doing. So pretty solid move here. My Gene Stealers and my Broodlord are still engaged with those Blood Crushers. He's going to be able to attack first on this turn because of sustained combat, and I'm probably going to lose them outright. My Hormagaunts were not able to finish off all the Bloodletters with the special character up there. I was just able to stall, but that's okay. So he gets 3 points for overwhelming force, and then we kick it over to me. So I control 3 objectives again, and again with the holding the objective with Terraform, I probably should be at 76 as the proper score, but yeah, I just got to learn how to score Terraform properly. I charged both of my Molochs into the character that went with the blood letters just to finish him off. And I'm rolling a ton of attacks. And it took both of them to kill him, which that's fine. End up scoring my Secure No Man's Land and Defend Stronghold for 8 points. So I think the score realistically should be 86 here instead of 78. He scores Area Denial and Secure No Man's Land. I am taking his home field objective, so he won't get the full 5 for Secure No Man's Land, but he will get the full 5 for Area Denial, killing the Tyrant here because of the charge mortals and the attacks on the charge. He was able to kill him. So he now solidly has the middle. Final turn, I've got 2 objectives, and one of them being terraformed, so I think the score here is 98 actually. Yeah, I did end up changing it, and I score 6 for sabotage, and that is my final score. He was doing a secret mission. It was War of Attrition, so he capped his terraform at 16. He did end up scoring the 20 for War of Attrition for having a battle line unit in my deployment zone. And then for Defend Stronghold, he comes back with the Blood Crushers, kills my Gene Stealers, takes it back for 3, scores that, and for a final game total of 65 points. So even though I was up quite a few points, the secret mission allowed him to shore up the score quite a bit here, and this was just it was just bloody. It was bloody and brutal the whole way. So I want to thank everybody once again for coming by and checking out a different build. First time playing Vanguard Onslaught in a while. I did want to try out the triple squad of Gene Stealers and the Broodlords. I think they're super fast, super fun. They hit hard. They're a little bit of glass cannon, but I think if you position well and use some of the Vanguard Onslaught strats, I didn't end up using a whole lot, but just because of the positioning of the opposing army not having a lot of shooting, I just needed to sort of thread a 16-inch range just between movement, advancing, and charging. I could usually make up that distance, and then reserving one of the squads of Gene Stealers ended up being really good. I think having something reserved and waiting in the wings to kind of be your counterpunch was really useful, specifically because he had a lot of deep strikers as well. So I hope this was helpful for visualizing some of the movement and some of the units choice that you could be using with Vanguard Onslaught, and it was something different today. I've been doing Crusher Stampede for quite a while, so I wanted to change things up. Thanks again. I hope you learned something today, and I'll catch you next time on Hive Prometheus.